Hey everybody, Rob Cootie here, the MLM Solution. Welcome. Good afternoon or morning still, really, based on where you are. Today's November the 24th, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and it is currently 10:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you know, we go live each and every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's topic is going to be a good one. It is this: setting the pace for your business, setting the pace for your business. If you don't know how to set the pace, remember, duplication is key in this industry. Everything you do will be duplicated, good and bad. Setting the pace, not only for yourself, but for your business, is essential in your business gaining traction and going into exponential growth. If you don't know how to make that happen, join us today as we discuss that in great detail at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And please share our platforms and show with our fellow network marketers across the world. Hashtag TheMLM Solution. Hashtag TheMLM Solution. See you in a bit.
Welcome to the MLM Solution Podcast Show, where you'll learn the facts and hear the truth about the network marketing industry. Here's your host, Rob Cootie.
Well, Miss Marie, how are you today?
Good morning, Rob. I am doing well. How are you on this fine Tuesday morning?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. I'm excited that Thanksgiving's right around the corner. And my gosh, we're wearing gray. You and I were just on minutes before. I didn't even notice that. We're both wearing gray. Yesterday we wore yellow. What in the hell's going on here, girl?
At least it's not the exact same color. One's darker, one's lighter. We've done that 2 days in a row. So. Should we decide what color we're wearing tomorrow?
I'm telling you, we do not talk. I've said that, but I think yesterday I talked about, we do not talk. We do not say, what are you wearing tomorrow? We don't talk at all. We get off the show, we go about our lives. It's amazing how this works. Yesterday, for all of you on the podcast, we wore yellow, different types of yellow. And I was probably 30 minutes into the show before I looked at her and realized we were both wearing yellow. She knew. She caught it right away and didn't say anything.
Yeah, I usually see it and don't say anything. I think tomorrow I'm going to wear a Hawaiian shirt just to make sure we don't match.
And you know what? It's funny you say that because I have a bunch of Hawaiian shirts. I don't know if you know, but you don't. I was Charlie Sheen before Charlie Sheen was Charlie Sheen. I had that kind of lifestyle. I wore those kind of clothes on 2.5 Men. And when I first saw it, I didn't watch that show for years. I heard people talking about it. I didn't even know what they were talking about because I don't watch much TV. And then when I saw it, I laughed my butt off, as you can imagine. It reminded me so much. And the wife, this was before her time, she turned around and looked at me because she heard the stories and saw some of the pictures, She's like, okay, I get it now. So my point being, I have a lot of Hawaiian shirts and those shirts that he wears. So I don't think you can get away from me on that.
Well, I think that's awesome. And what a great segue for today's show. So you set the pace for Charlie Sheen's wardrobe. And today on our show, we're talking about setting the pace for success in your business.
That's right.
I like the way you tied that in. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. I thought about that all night. So I hope everybody's doing well. Today is Tuesday, November 24th. It's currently 11:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We didn't waste much time, only 2 minutes. And she's right. We have a wonderful subject today. And Miss Marie, as you know, we have the holiday upon us. And tomorrow's subject's going to be a good one. So we'll bring it up before we get out of here, or get started, I should say. How's that? Tomorrow is all about legacy positions. Guys, if you don't know what a legacy position is, you definitely want to tune in to tomorrow's episode, because legacy positions could be the difference between millions of dollars and you making multiple thousands of dollars. Now, you might say, oh my gosh, that is so minuscule, the difference. Well, yes, on one hand, it is. On the other hand, it may not be. And we're going to talk about legacy positions in other companies such as Amway, Nu Skin, Mary Kay, Herbalife, etc., and why, if you're in the right place at the right time, you want to be in a legacy position, right, Miss Marie?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great place to be for sure. So looking forward to talking about that tomorrow.
Exactly. And you have to be able to recognize it to take advantage of it. But we'll talk about that tomorrow, because today's subject segues into tomorrow's topic. Today, as she stated, is setting the pace. And you might be saying, well, what in the world does that mean? And as you know, if you've listened to us and followed us, we're all about duplication, and duplication creates the exponential growth, or creates the atmosphere for exponential growth, because really with the impetus for exponential growth, guys, is speed and urgency. Things have to be happening rapidly, not only for yourself, but in your business as well. You can't have people sitting around picking their nose and deciding to take 6 months to do this and 8 months to do that. Your business will never capture traction if your majority of your organization has that kind of mindset and attitude towards the business building process. You have to set the pace from the day that you join this business and you say, I'm going to build this business. That day, you have, even with all your failures, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes during the prospecting process. You're going to say the wrong things. You're going to do the wrong things, but do them with urgency and do them with speed. Learn with speed and urgency. If there's one thing in this show that we hope you gather, it is that speed and urgency. Why? Because it sets the pace. That tells your downline is going to know what you're doing, okay? And they're going to look to you. When you are prospecting them and you have that initial meeting, the first meeting between you and your prospect, and that prospect eventually joins you over the next week, if that's the case, during that process, if you do what we talk about, you have the posture, you have the confidence, your prospect walks away from that initial meeting saying, wow, Marie's really a sharp individual. She knows what she's talking about. She's really focused, and they have high regard for you. And they think to themselves while they're at home, Marie is different. I think that this is somebody I could work with. She could show me how to make this business go. Marie has already set the standard. If she backs off and sits down and smokes a cigar and drinks out of her scotch glass after she sponsored this person and saying, okay, well, get out there and get to work, that she has shot that whole process down the toilet, okay? She has set the wrong pace, and what is that? Well, just take your time, just get out there and work. And you know what, if you need anything, just let me know. She is not setting the pace, and that new person picks up on that. And they're thinking, well, I'm not going to make her rich, because people that don't understand how this business model works, some of them think, well, she makes money off of me. And if I'm out there working my tail end off and she's sitting back smoking a cigar and drinking her scotch, guess what? I'm making her money. Okay. And a lot of those people are going to say, screw that. I ain't doing that. All right. And, if you're a veteran, you know better. But the point is, the vast majority of people she's going to sponsor, to be honest with you, they're going to be new people. So the thing is that you've got to set the pace from the very beginning. And that is what? Speed and urgency. Do everything you do with speed and urgency. And that speed and urgency sets the pace where your downline, your top-notch downline, Marie sponsors a Sally, and Sally watches how hard Marie works, the commitment, the hours that she puts in, the failures that she has, but yet she continues to move forward. Sally says, that I can do that. That I got to keep up with Marie. No, she's going to leave me behind. And Miss Marie, I don't know about you, but that setting the pace really causes a gap between you and your leaders. And when I mean leaders in this scenario, Miss Marie, I'm talking about the people that are working right off, the first third, people that are getting their butt out there and making things happen. They're scared to death that they're going to lose you, Miss Marie. You know that, and your attention.
Well, absolutely. And this is the classic example of leading by example, is setting that pace right from the very first interaction with your prospect, whether it's that first phone call, that web chat, whatever you're doing, you're showing them the value of their time and the fact that you need to fit as much business into the time you have available to you as possible. That's where the speed and urgency comes in. Because keep in mind, a lot of people you're working with, they have full-time jobs, they have families. There's a limited amount of time they're going to have to invest each day in their business. And you want them to leverage that time in consistent and correct business building activities. And that's not the social back and forth. That's not kicking back and having a conversation about the family and how things are going and how things are in their job. You want to get right to business. Same is true if your initial interaction may be leaving a voicemail message. You don't want to leave someone a 3-minute message. You want a 30 to 45-second message that hits clearly and concisely on why you're calling, what you have to offer, and hey, give me a call back. Here's my contact information. You want things to be as efficient and effective as possible to leverage that time. Remember, again, time is everyone's most valuable commodity. Once it's spent, it's gone. You cannot create more of it. And especially when people are initially starting out in the business, time is of the highest value. You want them to become productive as quickly as possible. So you want to get that duplication in play. You want them investing their time in those consistent, correct business building activities so they can achieve that first check. Now, a lot of these topics we've done episodes on: how to make that call, how to do that interaction, how to get people that first check. But it's all about setting the pace right off the bat to help them achieve the levels of success that they want.
Absolutely. Guys, everything you do is duplicatable, good and bad. You have to set the pace from the get-go. The only way, as we said, that your business is going to gain traction is with speed and urgency. And setting the pace from day one, not only for yourself, but for your new people, is absolutely essential. I cannot emphasize enough the seriousness of this subject matter, because if you drag this business out, you're going to become a grinder. And I will tell you that the success rate for a business drops dramatically when you become a grinder, or your downline becomes a grinder. You have to set the pace, because people that you're going to sponsor, if you use the scale of ambition as we teach you, and in other words, you're going to sponsor people that are used to success, used to setting goals, going after those goals, and not afraid or ashamed of success, and they put their head down and they go after it. Those are people that are 5 and above on that scale of ambition. When you sponsor enough of those people, if you don't set the pace, they're going to just run right by you, lose the respect for you, because you, in the beginning, when you prospected them, your confidence, your posture, everything about you spoke volumes about success and that you knew what you were doing. And if you sit back and just say, okay, I sponsored enough 5 and aboves on the scale of ambition, I'm just going to kind of half pace it here, and I'm just going to let them make me a lot of money. As we told you, there are comp plans out there that will not reward you for your laziness, okay? Because they will say that you have to be a certain pin level. You have to have, say, 6, 7, 8 leaders yourself that are doing X amount of volume in their businesses in order for you to qualify for certain bonuses and certain pay. And you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to leave a lot of money on the table. You did all this work. You sponsored the people. Now you're just giving money away. So there's a lot of negativity that comes with doing it half-assed, taking your time, not being focused, and not doing what you say you were going to do when you prospected these people. You got to set the pace. If you put in the work in the beginning, this business gets easier and easier, like anything else in life. It's hard work. There's no doubt about it. It takes a commitment. It takes a focus. There's no way around that. But guys, it gets easier just like everything else. And you'll get into cruise control. And when you do, it'll be amazing how the success attracts to you, and other high quality people will become attracted to you. Because when you go to an event and you are now on the company's radar, in other words, a company talks about you, maybe did a success video, maybe did a story on you on the website, whatever. When you go to a corporate event, people will flock to you. And there are new people that go to these events checking out the company. I remember when I was out looking for new companies, Miss Marie, I would go to certain corporate events. And I would go there as an investigator. I had not made up my mind whether I was going to join this company, but what better way to go to a corporate event and go. And I remember going to some of the corporate headquarters. I'd go in after the event, And I would stay a day or two extra, and I'd literally go to headquarters and say, hey, I'd like to meet the chief of operations. And I did. Me and Paris Finley, one of my sponsors, we did that when we were looking for another company. They don't have a problem with that for the most part. Maybe today because of security, but back in those days, they didn't. And we had a lot of very pointed questions for them. And they understood that we were professional business builders by our questions and what we were getting at. So the point is, guys, we knew that it was essential for us as leaders, as professional business builders, that we had to set the pace from day one. And that a lot of positives come out of doing that. And that's the reason why this subject is so important. And Miss Marie, there's not a lot of other leaders in this industry who will talk about this subject, which is really sad because it's imperative to people's success. And it's hard to believe it's not a topic of conversation.
Well, it's one of those aspects of duplication that I think are somewhat overlooked. People tend to focus on the system, the process, how they do things, the conference calls, the events, the meetings, and driving duplication that way. But the way you go about the business, the way you conduct yourself, the way you handle your recruiting phone calls, the way you handle your leadership conference calls, which we've done a previous episode on, those all translate into how your organization is going to perform. It's a little bit like being a parent. I don't know if you've ever noticed children have a habit of, doing what they see rather than doing what you say oftentimes. And it's true in your organization. So if you have an organization that's lagging, doesn't seem to have that speed and urgency, and you're wondering why, every once in a while, you may need to take a look in the mirror and see what you are doing. Track your time. Look at your productive time periods. Are you actually spending your time doing those consistent and correct business building activities yourself? Or have you laxed off and kind of gotten into more of a managerial mode, which can be a slow death for your business? You always want to keep that speed and urgency going.
Right. And, a lot of people, there's three things I want to bring up here. There's a lot of people that say, well, how do they do it? What's the magic bullet? How do these guys go, the professional business builders, go from one company to the other and have the success they do? Once again, they understand the numbers of the industry. We talked about that. We've done an episode, the numbers of network marketing. They understand that it's all about speed and urgency. And they get out there and they work their tail ends off. And as we said the other day, they've earned every penny that they make, because I'm going to tell you, I've been with these guys. I learned at the feet with these guys. I saw how hard they worked. I saw their commitment level. It was amazing. And that's what divides the people that are top earners and those that are so-so. Now, Miss Marie, if you don't mind, write down on your piece of paper a subject matter for the future, developing the leadership mindset. And because here's why. A lot of people will go up and when they meet these top leaders at corporate events, these top leaders are very nice. They shake your hand and they do this and that. But when they're in the business building mode, Miss Marie, there's a lot of people that get upset with them because they come across cold and calculated, and they get upset that, hey, they're not more warm, they're not more fuzzy. And you know what? When you're doing speed and urgency, and when you're setting the pace, guys, you cannot afford, as she said a moment ago, you can't turn prospecting calls into social calls. You can't do follow-up calls and turn them into social calls. When you do, you inherently slow down your business. You're undermining the actual successful foundation you're putting down, because you're now integrating into your new people the ability to what? To goof off, to slow down the process. So these professional business builders know this, and what they do, they don't converse. They don't have social calls, okay? Now, I've had social calls with us on off-duty time, if you want to use that term. On the weekend or when they weren't building, we talk at 8, 9 o'clock at night, and we would develop friendships that way. But during the day, when it was business building activity, we were all business. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. So the thing is because we understood we had to set the pace, and everything is duplicatable. The bad duplicates faster, guys, than the good. Okay, and if you allow your downline to lax, remember, you're not your boss, but when they come to you and say, what's going on? I need some help. And you start asking pointed questions, you're going to pinpoint and you're going to ask the right questions, because as you learn this industry, you're going to know where the weak areas are, right, Miss Marie? And you're going to know what.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna call out the ladies right here and say we really need to pay attention to this point in particular, because as women, we tend to be nurturing. We care about the relationships. We tend to care about the people, whereas the guys can typically go into business mode at the drop of a hat, and they're on it and they're just directing, getting stuff done. Meanwhile, we feel like, oh, you sound like you're having a bad day. We need to care for you and help you and nurture your business and those types of things. Ladies, you need to focus and be direct and be on it as well. It's going to build your business that much faster. And I'm not saying you're not being nice. You're just going to be direct, succinct, and to the point. Being nice and nurturing people is not going to put money in your wallet. That is not going to help your family. And ultimately, it's not going to help your team members that you really want to help be successful. Because the whole point of this, again, is to make more money, achieve time freedom, or attain a particular lifestyle that people are after. It's not about nurturing relationships and doing the psychological analyzing and helping and, oh, I hope you feel better soon, patting them on the shoulder type of thing. You have to have those times where you're just going to get down to business. As Rob noted, there's a time and a place for the social interaction, for the interpersonal conversation that is not so much business oriented. But when you have that time blocked in your calendar for business, make it about the business and leverage that time as actively as you possibly can.
Absolutely. And, this is not to be insensitive to people's needs, guys. There are going to be people in your downline. They're going to have life events. And look, I love people. There's very few people in this world that love people as much as I do. I love animals. I love everything. I won't step on ants on the sidewalk. I mean, it's silly, but it's true. And the wife will laugh at me, But the thing is, I have a compassionate heart. But when it comes to business, and I know how the business works, like she said, if I have someone that says, hey, I've got a personal thing going on that may interfere with the business building process, can we talk? I'll tell them, say, yeah, but I'm going to have to talk to you at night because I got to stay on my schedule. They respect that. We talked about Richard Cole, one of the greatest professional business builders of all time. His reputation, his success speaks for itself. I don't need to highlight it. But here's the thing. He was very rough on his people, as you know, Miss Marie. He came across rather gruff and mean. But you know what? All the people that he sponsored collectively, what is considered, and this is all documented in books about network marketing, collectively probably had the greatest collection of network marketing leaders ever assembled in one company. And I've named some of those people. I've met a lot of those people when I was with New Skin. And I was one step away from Richard Cole. Never went to his house. I worked directly with his daughter, Laura. But the thing is that those people loved him as hard as he was on them. And, look at he did. He has the number 1 legacy position in New Skin to this day, throwing out millions, I didn't say billions, millions a year to I'm sure Laura has inherited if her dad has passed by now. He may be still old. But anyway, the thing is that to this day, she has that legacy position because you can will your business onto wherever. You could send it to a dog pound. They don't care. But the thing is that I worked directly with her, and she had a little bit softer side than her dad, but she was also very aggressive, Miss Marie, as you stated. As a woman, she really set the pace, and she didn't really fart around. When you worked with her, she was to the point. She was professional. She was nice, but she was firm because she knew what? That her dad had built in 3 months that number 1 legacy position because of the economic conditions he was in at that time. He literally worked 20 hours a day, and he said, look, I don't care what time I went to bed. I got up every day at 6 a.m. and I started my day. And he worked his tail end off for those 3 to 6 months. I can't remember which one it was, but it's amazing what he accomplished. Why do I tell this story all the time? Because he did what? Speed and urgency. He didn't really fart around. I told the story about him and Mark Yarnell, him and Jerry Campese. When Mark Yarnell called complaining about his largest leg left, and Richard was like, so what? Get your ass off the phone, get out there and replace him, and don't call me back. Quick, And Mark Yarnell was thrown for a loop, but what did he do? And he was a pastor. He was used to having a soft heart and being there for other people, and he wanted a shoulder to cry on. Richard was not the type. But I'm not advocating that you have to be a Richard Call. What I'm saying is that Richard Call understood something very important: speed and urgency. And he could not spend his time on the phone with social calls. He thought, hey, these are adults. They're going to have to overcome this challenge in their life anyway. I can't afford to be on the phone and be a counselor. I've got to keep building this business. And of course, we all know that his wife got cancer and died shortly after. And he said, in hindsight, I'm so glad that I did what I did. I worked those hours and put together that business because I could afford any kind of care that she needed. And they were able to go to Mexico and even use the leading edge medicine approach down there without worrying about money and time. So that is a prime example of setting the pace and what it can do for you. Wouldn't you rather get your business over with in 3 to 6 months, which we advocate? We talk about the 90-day mini blast. We tell you why it inherently builds that speed and urgency. And if you use our business building system, you'll see how all that works together. Why? Because we teach the basics of the business building process, and they all work together. Look, I'm getting my hand up, Miss Marie. I just got my hand up. They all work together like that, okay? And the thing is that you have to realize that we teach those things that are all interlocking so that you can have a realistic chance of doing something special for yourself and your family and have the built-in things that will make the speed and urgency happen. Right, Miss Marie?
Absolutely. And let me give you a practical application point here. Whether you're meeting with someone on a web chat or you're calling them on the phone, take advantage of this nifty little device you have, your cell phone. Set a timer. If you struggle with being, on time and getting through quickly and essentially cutting people off, have that timer go off. They will hear it. It's a auditory acknowledgement both to you and to them that, hey, time's up. Wrap it up within the next minute, 2 at most, and then move on. If you need to continue a conversation, you need to schedule another time. You can't keep stretching out the time you spend with your people. You got to keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. And that's a great point, because I used to remember the old egg timers, the mechanical egg timers.
Yep. Same thing. I used them.
Yeah. And I set for 15, 20 minutes, and I would tell them on the phone, I would say, hey, look, I got an egg timer. I'm setting it right now. I only have, of course, I told them when I did the follow-up, when I met them initially and I set the follow-up, I told them, I said, look, I only got 20 to 25 minutes. And as I told you, I had my calendar out there in front of them. So they saw me write down the follow-up date and the time I had, and also wanted them to see I had other calls immediately after that one. I didn't want them to think I was playing games with them. So I would tell them, say, look, I'm going to be using an egg timer when we talk. It helps me to stay on track. So don't be offended if you hear a bell go ding, And so when I get on the phone with them, I would literally, you could hear it go, as you said it. And that's what I would do. And then you're right. I did a soft exit. When that bell went off, I'd say, okay, my time's up. I didn't just click, I would say, okay, time's up. Hey, it's been great talking to you. Hey, make sure you do the steps that we just talked about, whatever the subject was at that follow-up, of course. But the thing is that I made sure that I had a soft exit, the love them and leave them exit, as I always taught myself in my downline, which was awesome. Left a good taste in their mouth. You never know what's going to happen. Never know if you're going to have another follow-up with them. So you want to do what? You want to love them and leave them. I'm not upset if I don't ever hear from them again. It's part of the process. It's part of life. It happens, So I make the whole process as positive as I can. And you're right. I had a soft exit each and every time.
Yep. You've got to enforce that. There's just no better way to manage their time than to set a time limit. And honestly, I do the same thing when I'm working on something. I create time pressure, whatever I'm working on, by setting a timer. I give myself 20 to 30 minutes, maybe 60, if it's something that's going to take sustained focus for a while. But I set a timer so that I know there's a clock running in the background and I've got to focus and get that stuff done. And whatever task I'm on, that's what I'm doing until that timer goes off. And then it's time to switch gears and change. So there are ways to create speed and urgency for yourself, as well as setting the example for your people.
Right. And guys, when we're talking about speed and urgency, look, we don't want you stressed out going like this. We don't want you to put extra pressure on yourself. What we're saying is just be efficient in what you're doing. Move from one prospect to another. Move from one appointment to the other. Move from one task to the other as quickly and efficiently as you possibly can. Okay, that's what we're saying. We're saying don't have an appointment at 1 p.m. in the afternoon and another one at 3 p.m. You're slowing your business down. Look, you have a small window in today's crazy world to build your business. Give it the commitment it deserves. And if you do the hard work, it'll take this much hard work, but it'll give you that much in return if you do it right. As she said earlier, the thing that we teach all the time, which is absolutely essential, once again, a term that's rarely used, consistent, correct business building activity. Key word there, correct. Okay, consistent is obviously an important word, but you can be consistent doing the wrong things, the bad things, and get nowhere. So consistent and correct go together, and it's got to be business building activity. It's the reason why we always promote that, CCBBA, because you've got to do that. Well, our business building system does that inherently. Okay, it's the 5 simple steps to networking success in 90 days or less. Why 90 days? Because businesses work in thirds. You've got to have that speed and urgency. So our whole system is set up on the basics to promote you to create the speed and urgency. And you do that by setting the pace. And remember, everything you do, I mean everything you do, even if your downline does not see or hear you, is duplicatable. They will do what you do. It's amazing how it works. I have story after story how that works. I don't know how to explain it. You can live in a different state and they still figure it out. But the bottom line is, you can look yourself in the mirror, you can look them in the eye. If you're doing the right things and you're setting the pace, you can look them in the eye and say, I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. And they're going to know inherently, because sometimes, Miss Marie, I'll be honest with you, they'll ask you just to test you. They'll, if you're at a corporate event and they don't get a chance to talk to you very often and you're at a corporate event, they'll come up to you.
And they'll ask about it. And it looks like... Rob, are you back with us? Looks like you froze up for a second there.
We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Are you still there, Miss Marie?
There you go. You're back. We got
you. See, you were gone. I don't know what to say to that. Guys, I apologize for all of you out there. We are having, over the last 2 days, technical difficulties, and I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to do some research. I'm going to contact the company and see if they're having server issues, because this is the only time I have any internet connectivity issues.
Of course, it's when you're doing a podcast and shooting a video, right? Why would you have technical difficulties at any other time?
Exactly. Why would we have any? Exactly.
Well, hey, I don't want to take the risk any further and have those technical gremlins show up here. But everything we're talking about here is again, it's subject matter that not all network marketing leaders are going to address. And these are the things we want to bring to your attention, because again, we want you to achieve the level of success that you're after in this business, and it's done through duplication, and it's done through the 5 simple steps. As a matter of fact, if you go out to our website, TheMLM-solution.net, we currently have some free downloads there for you, which includes the 5 simple steps, along with the 4 critical mistakes most network marketers make, how to avoid them, and 0 to Network Marketing Hero. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper on some of these concepts we're talking about here today, that's where you can go grab those, TheMLMsolution.net. Strongly recommend you go grab those for yourself And again, it's about duplication. Make sure you're sharing that with your downline as well as other network marketers, because of course, we're advocating for the industry and we're preaching the best way we know how to help you be successful. And again, you can find us across all the social media platforms by searching hashtag TheMLM Solution. That's hashtag TheMLM Solution. Drop us a comment. Give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear, you understand the points that we're making. Like, comment, share. We love to hear from folks. If you have an aha moment, something that we've shared, we love to hear that. If you have a question or a topic that perhaps you'd like to hear more about, we always monitor those. And oftentimes those suggestions get incorporated into our podcast shows. So be sure to join us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking about those legacy positions, another important topic. And this is another one that you're not really going to hear about anywhere else except here on the MLM Solution.
That's right. Absolutely. And guys, just a little teaser for tomorrow's show. Understand that Jay Van Andel and Dick DeVos, the founders of Amway, when they first started, they created their soap, which was their main product, and to this day is probably one of the most famous and most ordered products. And it's great. I used it for years. And the thing is that they developed that soap, and they went door to door in the early 1960s, selling that soap back when door-to-door salesmen were acceptable, and they made $80,000 a year a piece. Back then, that's a lot of money, and they sold a lot of soap. And they decided to adopt the network marketing business model, which was in a crude form back in those days from the gentleman who they ended up buying Nutrilite. And in Hemet, California, was the doctor that created Nutrilite. He was a prisoner of war in the Vietnam War, if I remember right. My ex-fiance was from Hemet, and Nutrilite's facilities were right down the road there in Hemet, California. Anyway, the story is he developed a rough form of the network marketing organizational structure. You know, you sponsor people and they get bonuses and blah, blah, blah. Dick DeVos, Jay Van Andel were big fans of his, talked to him about it. He gave them his blessing on adopting that business model into their own company. They started Amway. And of course, the soap was their first product in that new company. Well, what they did is Dick DeVos, Jay Van Andel, being the great friends that they were, they both agreed, hey, we're going to sponsor 250 people apiece. Okay, they did. And over the years, in the Amway's infancy, 495 of those people that they sponsored quit over the corresponding years. Guess what? All $8.8 billion that the company generates today goes through those 5 people. Those are legacy positions. Do you realize how much money those families have made over the years? I mean, it's millions a month. All 8.8 billion go through those 5 legacy positions. My gosh, that's so much money. I can't even fathom that. How do you spend that kind of money? You know? I mean, I have everything I could possibly want now. I can't imagine. I'd be like giving it away. What the hell am I going to do with all this? But the point is that that's what a legacy position can do, guys. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Are the legacy positions of future companies going to rival that of that story? And there are similar stories in Nu Skin, Herbalife, Mary Kay, Metallica, all companies, the old ones, and even some of the new ones have legacy positions. And there's no set number, Miss Marie. Some companies it's 20. Some companies it could be 2. You don't know. All you can do is get in and get busy and do the right things, right?
Absolutely. Looking forward to talking about that tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
That's right. I agree. We always have fun topics to talk about, but we more importantly have important topics to talk about that, once again, no one else talks about. And we're tickled pink to help you guys out. We want you to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, but more importantly, as profitably as possible. And that's what we teach. Miss Marie, you have a great evening. I look forward to that show tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, we'll see you later. God bless. Take care. Be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the MLM Solution Podcast. For more info, visit our website, TheMLM-solution.net. Please follow us on the following platforms: Facebook, YouTube, etc. And share this podcast with our fellow network marketers around the world by hitting the share button on our various platforms.